Welcome once again, everyone, to IBM's Tech Innovation Summit. Very excited to see all of you here. Thank you for your patience. Again, for those of you, the room is full here. There's more space on the other side as well. It's going to be a exciting day, like if you're going to be in a racing lap. We're going to get started here in just a moment. The minister will be making his way in here just a moment. So thank you again, and I'll be back in just a moment. Ladies and gentlemen, announcing the arrival of 𝐊𝐞𝐲𝐧𝐨𝐭𝐞 Gobind Singh Deo, Minister of Digital Malaysia. If we could all stand. Please be seated.
In the birthplace of some of the world's first human civilizations. Asia Pacific. How do you measure progress?
Asia has emerged as a global technological powerhouse.
The future of Asia's green energy transition is bright.
Asia is a force to be reckoned with.
Over the last decade, the region has accounted for 52% of global growth.
Progress in Asia is accelerating at an unprecedented speed.
At IBM, we are powering progress to solve the biggest challenges that societies in APAC and around the world grapple with.
I code software that helps citizens access welfare payments.
I train computers in natural language capabilities so employees can work more efficiently.
I help clients find solutions to grow their business sustainably.
I'm helping clients drive productivity and innovation at scale, responsibly using autonomous AI agents.
I conduct experiments to push the limits of quantum computing.
I help clients accelerate business outcomes with hybrid by design.
Asia Pacific, the epicenter of global growth and progress.
Let IBM power your transformation.
I am IBM.
I am IBM.
I'm IBM.
I am IBM.
I am IBM.
I am IBM.
I'm IBM.
I am IBM.
I am IBM. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to IBM's Tech Innovation Summit. 𝐊𝐞𝐲𝐧𝐨𝐭𝐞 Gobind Singh Deo, Minister of Digital Malaysia, Catherine Lien, General Manager, IBM ASEAN, Dixon Wu, General Manager, IBM Malaysia. Ladies and gentlemen, we're so glad you've joined us for what promises to be an exhilarating ride into the future of technology. Today, we're not just here to talk about AI, we're here to fuel your AI journey and unleash your inner racer. So one of the most exciting developments in the world of Scuderia Ferrari HP. Together, they've reimagined the Scuderia Ferrari mobile app to bring over 400 million global fans, the Tifosi, even closer to the heart of the action. Powered by IBM's advanced AI, the app now delivers instant race recaps, post-race insights, historical comparisons, and interactive features like fan polls and direct messages to the team. And for the first time, it's available in Italian, a tribute to Ferrari's iconic roots. And this is just the beginning. With more features rolling out through 2025, fans can look forward to an always-on, immersive Ferrari experience. And this partnership is more than just a tech upgrade. It's a bold step in redefining how we all connect with the passion and energy of Formula One. So all right, buckle up, because as we move through today's sessions, you'll be accelerating your understanding and capabilities, and with each session, you'll be one step closer to crossing the finishing line of innovation. So let's rev our engines and get started. To kick things off, it's my pleasure to introduce someone who is leading the charge in driving innovation across the ASEAN region. Please welcome Catherine Lien, General Manager of IBM ASEAN, to share her vision for today's journey ahead.
Yang Berhormat Tuan Gobind Singh Deo, Minister of Digital, fellow colleagues from Ministry of Digital, Mr. 𝐓𝐞𝐲𝐧𝐨, General Manager, IBM Global Sales, Z and Systems, Mr. Dixon Wu, Country General Manager, IBM Malaysia, Mr. Pramesh, Co-founder, Malaysiakini, Mr. Karamjit Singh, CEO Digital CEO of Digital News Asia. Whenever I look at him, I gabra. Esteemed guests, industry leaders, ladies and gentlemen, selamat petang, salam madani Malaysia. Greetings and welcome to the IBM Tech Innovation Summit Malaysia. It's a true pleasure to see many visionaries, innovators, and technology leaders gathered here today. We are living in a time where innovation is accelerating. What once seemed impossible is now becoming a daily reality. AI is no longer just a tool, it's a power engine that's transforming industries, redefining value, and reshaping how we work, how we live, how we connect. AI is set to add $4.4 trillion in the global economy and making it one of the most important technology shifts in the world today. YB Gobind, thank you for your leadership and for your vision in driving the AI agenda here in Malaysia. I've been following you very closely. You have always been guiding us the importance of AI as a driving force behind the future of Malaysia's industries, public services, and economy. We at IBM, we have been here since 1961. We are proud to be driving this partnership, the public-private partnership, in driving the national agenda. And YB, thank you for your guidance. Now, this summit is designed for all of you, to give you more information, and it's all about the experience, the insights, and information. Throughout the day, you'll hear from our champions and our esteemed speakers, IBM experts, leaders, customers, and what more, that it is a breakthrough in driving AI and automation. Earlier this morning, you would have seen a hands-on experience in our 2 lab sessions where you have experienced cutting-edge tools experience and the technologies that you would have seen. Now, later today, after the keynote segment, you'll deep dive into track sessions that fuel up AI and on the creation of the tangible business value through AI, and encourage you to really come in, have a lot of perspective, and ask a lot of questions, because we at IBM, we love to hear from you and we love to continue to build this national agenda. I'm pleased to tell you that today, we'll be launching our latest IBM Z17 mainframe. And this is fully designed with a 100%, as I said, on the AI-built capabilities, hardware, software, and operations. Since 1961, when IBM Malaysia started our sales and business operations here, the first mainframe shipped to Malaysia was in 1964. And the first user was Tenaga Nasional Berhad, TNB. When they had a change of name to National Electricity Board, which we actually call it as Lembaga Listrik Negara in 1963. So in 1964, when we actually had the first ship, it took us 4.5 months to ship the mainframe. And it is called IBM 1401 back then. I'm proud to say that I was not born then. But it was amazing. 4.5 months to get the shipment in IBM 1401. But today, we stand very proud to thank our customers that had belief in the investment of this technology. And today, it's a Z17 mainframe launch together with the LinuxONE and Pro 5. Now, look at history of the journey that we have had today. IBM has stood proud to be the largest technology solutions provider here in Malaysia, and we continue to have a very strong inclination towards working with Ministry of ICT under the leadership of Mr. Dickson Wu, our country general manager here leading the operations and the sales strategies in Malaysia to drive the national agenda. Now, as we look forward, we have actually seen a lot of insights towards what IBM represents here. And as we move towards AI and hybrid cloud strategy, I'm pleased to share with you that we have turbocharged demos available outside that you will be able to showcase AI and automation in action. But most of all, this is a chance for us to connect with all of you industry leaders. Thank you for being here, because I would say that what is more critical and valuable is the network that we have with each other, and the ideas that you impart to us is meaningful. I shared with YB Gobind during my Malaysia-Singapore semiconductor industry event is that AI is a journey. It's not a sprint, it's a marathon. It's not an endpoint, but you have to begin to understand where you belong, how ready you are to adopt AI. Because every organization, public services and industries have a very different sets of understanding what is the success of AI. With that, on behalf of IBM Malaysia, thank you all for coming, but most of all, thank you all for being here, present, giving your thought process. And I wish you well and enjoy throughout the sessions. After that, the demo sessions will begin after the keynote. Thank you.
Thank you, Catherine. You can choose to go down this way or that way. All right, thank you. Get the team to help us. Before I invite our esteemed guests up, we're going to be setting up the Right, okay. And now, as we begin this race into the future, we're thrilled to have an esteemed guest who is at the forefront of Malaysia's AI revolution. In a world where the challenges keep rising, it takes true leadership to steer the course to success. Please join me in welcoming our keynote speaker, who will share insights into how Malaysia is accelerating its AI journey and rising to the challenge. Let's put our hands together for Yang Berhormat, Tuan Gobind Singh Deo, Minister of Digital Malaysia. All good.
Thank you very much, Saudari MC, Catherine Lian, General Manager, IBM ASEAN, 𝐤𝐶, General Manager, IBM Global Sales, Aziz Tech and Systems, Mr. Dickson Wu, Country General Manager, IBM Malaysia, Adrian Marcellus, CEO, My Digital 𝐬𝐿𝐴, Head of National AI Office, Pramesh Chandran, founder Malaysiakini, Karamjit Singh, CEO, Digital News Asia, fellow Penangite, esteemed guests, industry leaders, ladies and gentlemen, Salam Malaysia Madani, and very welcome to all of you. As always, there is a written text for events like this, but I think the topic that requires discussion today is probably best dealt with by speaking of the cuff. Malaysia's AI revolution, taking leadership in the face of rising challenges. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I think, especially with the audience before me today, we accept and acknowledge the fact that technology will have a huge impact on how it is we do things moving ahead. This is a discussion that is commonly held, and I think as we go along, it really comes back to us at scale. Let's look at how it is things will change. When we speak about technology, we speak about AI, we speak about AI itself changing, we speak about Gen AI, we speak next about agentic AI, and I'm sure after that you will see it develop even further. Now, if you look at it from an industrial perspective, the industry looks at it as a tool of empowerment. All of us here understand that if you use AI and use technology in particular, there is a potential that you will be able to scale up your business, improve on how it is you deliver your products, reduce costs, increase efficiency, and ultimately you will be able to see a significant increase in productivity on your part. The reverse of it, of course, would be to say that you do not want to take part in this new journey of digital transformation, which results then, of course, in you being left behind. The reality of it is that the person right next to you is going to adopt. He is going to use technology, and he is going to move ahead. If you make that decision consciously to stay behind, then it is your fault alone. Because ultimately you are aware of the fact that technology exists. Everyone's going to use it. Everyone is using it, will continue to use it. It's really a question of whether you want to do the same. So from that perspective, of course, you look at how it is AI or technology benefits you and how it can result in you seeing your businesses flourish even more. But that from an industry perspective. Now, let's look at it from a government perspective. How do you prepare a country for technology? How do you prepare a country for technology that's developing so fast that even experts can't keep up with what comes next? How do you build an ecosystem that readies your country for next-gen tech so as to ensure that when that technology is available in your country and it has that potential to improve and boost the way it is your country does things, your country is ready to use it. In other words, we speak about technology, we know what it can do. The question is, do you have facilities that enable your people to use technology? So governments have to think about the infrastructure. Have we infrastructure in place that allows us here in Malaysia to use the most current of technology? If we don't, what are we supposed to do to ensure that we build that infrastructure that enables you to use technology? If you have technology and you have infrastructure that allows you to use that technology for today, and you are aware that something new is going to develop soon, you then have to start preparing your country for that new technology as well. So these are things that you've got to think about. Because you want to make sure, as I described earlier, from an industry perspective, whilst you look at businesses moving ahead, using technology, and businesses falling behind, not using technology, the same applies for countries as well. If countries don't adopt technology, then of course, countries around them which adopt technology move ahead, and you get left behind. That, of course, is something that you cannot allow to happen. You must ensure that your country is ready for it. Then, of course, you have to start thinking of how you can encourage people to use that infrastructure. You can, of course, speak to people about the benefits of technology, using the infrastructure. You have online platforms. Explain to them, digitize your business, digitalize your business, transform. And this is how you benefit, using platforms. But on the other side, there is this concern about whether or not these platforms are safe. So from a government perspective, you want to encourage people to use platforms that you build using that infrastructure that you have. You got to make sure that you create an ecosystem that people trust. You got to make sure that you acknowledge the fact that there are risks involved. You are aware of these risks, and whilst you ask people to come along on that journey of digital transformation, looking towards how technology can empower all of us, you also acknowledge the fact that there is a risk, and governments need to ensure that we take steps to deal with those risks, be it obliterating those risks altogether or minimizing those risks. So there you have it. You have infrastructure, and you have security. You build trust. And then you have society. You can have the best infrastructure in the world. You can speak about the latest technology. You can convince everyone that the systems that you provide are safe. They trust you. But then they do not know how to use those platforms. It comes to naught, because you can have the best of systems, but if no one knows how to use those systems to empower themselves, improve themselves, and to compete with the rest of the world using those platforms, then of course, it's of no use to them. So from a government perspective, the challenges range wide. We must think of how it is we can build a country which is prepared for technology in context. We got to understand that there is a need for us to focus on infrastructure. There's a need for us to ensure it's safe, and there's a need for us to invest in ensuring that our people are aware of what technology exists, what it can do for them, and ensuring, most importantly, they adopt the technology. This, of course, is no easy task. It requires a real shift in the way we think, and more importantly, how we do things. You can shift in the way you think, but if you keep doing things in the same way, then of course it changes nothing. So you must be prepared to say that, look, here's the future. This is the future that's going to empower our people. It's going to prepare us to compete, not just at the regional stage, but the global stage. We now need to take steps to ensure that we get it done. So in December of 2023, the Prime Minister made a decision. The Prime Minister decided that there was a need to set up a ministry that looks specifically into this. How do you digitalize the country? How do you start this process of digital transformation that will ultimately ready our country for this digital future that we speak of so often? The Ministry of Digital was set up with nothing really. I describe it as a startup ministry. When we started, we didn't even have an office. There were no staff. And I was told, this is what you need to do. And of course, now, some 18 months later, we have staff, good people working with us. And let me tell you what we have done in 18 months, because this would respond to the question that is before me, which becomes the topic of conversation this afternoon. It was important for us to acknowledge the fact that when you speak about AI, when you speak about technology, you had to look at, as I said earlier, creating a system, an ecosystem, where people trust what it is you do. We started off with looking at building on cybersecurity. So in 2024, in January, February, we were able to table in Parliament the Cybersecurity Act, which of course looked at how it is we can strengthen cybersecurity, particularly in the NCIIs of the country. Subsequently, in June, we looked at how it is we could improve and strengthen further laws that dealt with personal data. The Personal Data Protection Act was amended. Now, having done that, and putting, of course, cybersecurity into action and say, look, now we have got to actually execute, move ahead with the policies, make sure that the standards that we have set with this legislation is now actually implemented. We then had to look at what needed to be done next to ensure that we will be able to take full advantage of digital transformation and technology. There was a question of us looking to basics. We looked at that element that became the fundamental basis for technology, the essence of technology, and it is data. You really need to have data if you are actually going to start speaking about AI. Now, when you speak about data, you must understand that you're looking at data that has been digitized. You can have data that is still analog. You can look at visuals, you can look at audio clips, or a combination of them. But you're not going to be able to use it unless it is digitized. And then, of course, you have data in so many different parts of government that first needs to be profiled. You need to know what kind of data you have. There needs to be an audit done to check. And you're talking about ministries at federal level alone, for starters. So the question is, how do we do this? We can have conversations about AI, and all of us have conversations about AI. We understand that we need to build solutions using AI. We understand that there are problems that can be solved using AI. And we know that data will help us deliver those solutions. But we need to deal with the problem. Do we have the data in that form that we can use almost immediately so that we can start with that process of looking for solutions using AI for problems that we have? Now, how do we start this? Where does the conversation begin? In terms of policy, we can start speaking to all government departments about it. We can say to them, look, everyone, here's a digitizing policy. There's always a problem. I'm sure many of you have the same problem as well. And if you did that, they would understand, they would agree, acknowledge. Where do you start? Is there a process involved? And in the event some departments did not actually cooperate or did not actually look into how it is they could also move towards ensuring that they are digitized, how do you enforce it? How do you enforce policies? So this is the reason why we then decided that there was a need for us to table the Data Sharing Act, which we did in January of this year. The Data Sharing Act came into force on the 28th of April. What does it do? It defines data that can be shared, data that which is shared can be used for the purposes of creating digital solutions, which facilitates AI. Now, in terms of moving ahead therefrom, this is where the real challenge comes in. You have an act that is now in force. Now, the real challenge starts. Now, the act provides you with a system or mechanism by which applications can be made for data between different ministries. When an application is made, it defines how that application is made, the nature of the data that you seek, the purpose for which you want that data. An application process is put in process, is put on way, and subsequently a decision is made whether you're going to allow that data to be shared or not. If that application is allowed and it's allowed for a certain purpose, then there's a need for you to ensure that that particular purpose is met and it's not abused. There are issues, security that have to be looked into, privacy. Now, this is what governments have to look into. They have to build structures that facilitate processes which will enable us to adopt technology. This is more than a conversation. Conversations will always be had. But the question is, how do you actually build a structure that facilitates it, a structure that is sustainable, and a structure that will ultimately develop an ecosystem in your country, which comes back to what I said earlier, which ensures that your country is ready not just for the technology that exists today, but for the technology that we expect tomorrow, that will propel us even further into this new digital world that we speak of. We speak about challenges. This is a huge challenge, and it's just the beginning, because we are just talking about sharing data between federal government agencies. We have got data at state level, local government level, industry level, the private sector. How do we move everyone to ensure that they go digital? What kind of a campaign do you need to start this process? To encourage all of you here seated in front of me to do the same, to go back and think about how it is you can play a role in this journey. If you digitize your business, all of you did it, then it makes that process a lot easier. So, ladies and gentlemen, when we speak about AI, and I think all of us here, we heard Catherine and IBM and what they have done in many companies, we acknowledge the fact that it is something that's going to impact on us. But let us take one step back and think for a moment. If it's really going to have that huge impact on us, how do we prepare ourselves in anticipation for the challenges that we are going to face in moving ahead in that journey? Not easy. But the conversation must start. And not only conversations, collaboration must begin. And we must think about how it is we can, together with government, industry, and everyone, academia, look at building an ecosystem that works for everyone in the country. Now, let me also just explain to you a little bit about why it is I say that the journey begins just here. I spoke about data sharing among federal government agencies. Every ministry is focused on a particular sector. If there's a question people ask me, they say, look, why do you need to have a ministry of digital? You already have ministries that deal with transport, ministries that deal with health, ministries that deal with national security, home ministry, and what have you not. Why do you need a ministry of digital? Individual ministries deal with their sectors. So if there's a problem with transport, you will go and look for Anthony Loke, and you'll say to him, look, this is what the problem is, how do we solve it? And he will say to you, yes, I will tell you what the ministry has done in the last 20 years, these are the policies that we have, this is legislation that we have passed in Parliament, and this is how we deal with it. It's the same with health. There's a problem, the health sector, you go and see Dr. Zul, he will say to you, this is what we have done in the last 30 years, these are the policies that we have had, this is what we have built. And at the end of the day, this is legislation we have, and these are the plans moving forward. And these ministries deal with the industries. So if you're in an industry that deals with transport or health, if there was a problem, you'd find that the ministry will send officials to speak to you about the problem and try and solve it. Now, there you see the problem. Of course, I'm not saying it's a problem alone, it's good. But it also poses a question, because there you see ministries focused on their sectors alone. Now, those ministries have a lot of data. If you look at transport, huge amounts of data. Health, even more. Now, if they digitized all the data and they kept the data to themselves and used it merely for their ministry's perspectives, it's not going to be able to deliver these smart solutions that you now speak about. When you talk about smart cities, for example, it's a combination of data from different ministries that you need to put together so that you can actually understand how technology helps. I'll give you an example. If there's an accident, and I use this example to explain this often. If there's an accident and someone reports it, first you take a photograph of the accident itself, the vehicles involved in the accident. You upload it. The moment you upload it, if you build a system, a smart system, cameras within 200 meters of the accident pull up the footage to show you which car was going in which direction, at what speed, whether they were driving in a safe manner, recklessly, and subsequently, how it is they actually collided. Using AI and the speed of compute power that we have today, in a matter of minutes, the computer will be able to tell you who's at fault. Now, at the same time, from those visuals that you're able to get from the cameras, you will be able to look at the number plates of the cars. You identify the owners. You identify the insurance companies. You notify the insurance companies. Immediately, if you're able to use AI to tell you who's at fault, notification is sent to the insurance company. The insurance company then looks at the report that is prepared within minutes that tells you who's at fault, what needs to be paid. It's up to the insurance company whether they accept it. If they accept it within a couple of hours, money is paid. So that if there's a coverage and there's a claim, the claim is settled in a matter of hours. Now, if the cameras show that someone was driving in a reckless way, notification is sent to the police station. The police are notified and they then investigate. Now, in the event someone is injured in that accident, photograph is taken showing the nature of the injuries. The nearest hospital sends an ambulance. The ambulance is prepared for the nature of the injuries. When the person is actually picked up, he gets into the ambulance. It's a smart ambulance. The ambulance on the way to hospital is able to conduct the scans necessary, tell you the actual nature of the injuries that the person has. It prepares the hospital for the patient that is arriving. It makes sure the correct doctor is there to deal with the correct problem, because time is of the essence. By the time you reach hospital, the right doctors are there, the right diagnosis has been done by the cameras, by the computer. You get into the operation theater, everything is done within time and the patient is saved. Now, this is just one example of how it is. You, in that scenario, needed data from different ministries. The Ministry of Health, Ministry of Transport, data about insurance companies, Home Ministry, which deals with the police. You need to make sure that you have a system which digitizes this data but also facilitates the exchange of these data so that smart solutions that you need, that we speak of today, are solutions that we can create. Until and unless we start recognizing the fact that there's a lot to be done, we need to digitize, we need to make sure that we move out of this thinking that we can operate in silos. We have to recognize the fact that the real strength of data is in how we use it. It's how we facilitate the sharing of data, ensure that data that is shared is used for the correct purpose, not abused. It's properly anonymized. These are processes that government have to think about. That's just the thinking. Then there's a whole process of making sure that policies are created so that we can deal with those scenarios, ensure that we build those ecosystems, make sure that there's security in place, and a whole list of other to-dos that need to be done in order to create that ecosystem. Now, ladies and gentlemen, that is all in a day's work in the Ministry of Digital. We sit back and think about how it is we can build this ecosystem so that our country can ready itself for the challenges of the future. We want to make sure that when there's a need for all of you to have access to that data so that you can create solutions that will solve problems of the past, make things better for all of us, then you have access to that data. And you can use technology to ensure that you use that data to its best, and it benefits us as a nation, builds us as a region, and ultimately puts us on the global stage as a country who understands how technology works and uses it to the full advantage of our people. It's not easy. It's been 18 months. Difficult. If you look at Adrian, Marcellus, and Sam, these are, they looked a lot different 18 months ago. This is the after-stress effect. I can assure them that I'm going to carry on pushing them for the next 18 months because we have so much more to do. But as I told Catherine earlier, conversations like this are important. Yes, by all means, have conversations with industry, talk about what's next, understand that there are commercial, elements to look at. To many of you here, there's a lot of excitement, there's buzz about what comes next, how it is you're going to make sure that we have it first, and the conversations must go on. But at the same time, I think it is important for us to recognize the fact that governments also have a role to play. And governments now need to speak to industries. We need to understand the challenges that the people face. We need to acknowledge the fact that there's so much to do in terms of creating awareness about what yet needs to be done. Malaysia has taken steps, real steps. We have set up a ministry. The ministry has now looked at enforcing and enhancing security, as I said earlier, building mechanisms by which data can be shared. We are going to launch 𝐓𝐞𝐻 next month. National AI Office has also been established. We are working with the industry. We hope that we will come up with certain measures, building our own AI stack, looking at our own language model. Hopefully can be announced before August. We are going to chair the Asian AI Summit in August, and of course the Smart City Expo in September this year. That in less than 24 months. So much more to do as we move ahead. This is the reason why I think it is important, these conversations. And I will invite all of you after this. Please feel free, come forward, talk to us. Tell me if I've got it wrong. Tell me if you think that we should be working otherwise, how it is we can improve. Because this is something that all of us must do together. And I think if we are able to put our heads together, understand that collaboration is really, really the key to making it a success, that, to me, is how it is we will build a digital Malaysia. Thank you very much for inviting me this afternoon.
Thank you. Thank you, YB. Please be seated. At this point, I'd like to invite Pramesh Chandran, co-founder of Malaysiakini, to the stage to interview YB. YB, perhaps you could sit on this side. Okay. So Pramesh is the co-founder of Malaysiakini and non-executive chairman of Asia Mobility. A 2019 TED Senior Fellow. He was coached 50+ tech ventures and serves on several boards, including the UN University's International Advisory Board. The stage is yours, Pramesh.
Thank you so much, and very good afternoon. What an inspiring speech. Can we give the minister a big clap? In true tradition, he spoke off the cuff and from the heart. You covered so many points. You talked about, the infrastructure that we need, the platforms that we need, the ecosystems that we need to build, and how those things come together, In the conversations, with so many people. It's just not about the government you mentioned, it's about conversing with everybody here to kind of build the country. And I think you highlighted the fact that with AI, things are changing so fast. Yesterday, today, tomorrow. And how does a country prepare itself for something so, in a way, unpredictable? And I think that's really inspiring. I think you've given us a lot to talk about and think about. But I want to ask you, you've been really driving this. I think your leadership has been really important for the country. You've been passionate, you've been active in driving the nation's agenda. What personally excites you most about building this AI future for Malaysia? If you think about it in a couple of years, in 5 years' time or whatever, and you want to look back, is there something that you're waiting to see happen in this future that you're building for Malaysia in this AI future?
Thank you, Amish. It's an interesting question. In fact, that was the question that was at the uppermost of my mind when I was first asked to come back to cabinet and, of course, to lead this ministry. We are going through very exciting times. We read about it, we see things happening quickly. And I think in all of this, the question is, how fast can we, as a country, actually build a structure that will prepare us for this digital future that we speak about? And time is of the essence. We don't have the luxury of time. We need to do things now. And I think at the end of the day, that is what motivated me. To me, the opportunity came. The Prime Minister said this is something that he thought was very important, and I think he is absolutely correct. And the opportunity, of course, presented itself for me to actually try to make a difference. Look, it doesn't matter if you fail, at least you tried. And I think at the end of the day, looking back, as you said, 5 years' time, you want to make sure that you have actually built something that your country is able to use, so that you as a country can not just use technology, but also become regional, global leaders in how it is technology transforms what it is you do, how it is technology transforms the way you work, transforms the way we govern. And to me, that was the motivation. An opportunity is given to you, making the best of it. And I will tell you this, starting off with literally, as I said earlier, right, just me and my deputy, having to sit at the dining table in my house and say, okay, look, this is how we're going to build this ministry. This is what it's going to look like. I was minister in 2018 to 2020. That experience helped me a lot. The Prime Minister, of course, fantastic support given by him and cabinet, all my colleagues in cabinet, and of course, at this point in time, after 18 months, we've got a structure. We now understand what we need to do. I think things are moving in the right direction. Of course, we're not perfect. There's a lot that we need to do. There's some things that we need to tweak a bit, some things we need to change. As we go along, we'll improve. But the most important thing is we have started work. And moving ahead, I am certain that in the next 24 months, we'll be able to actually create this structure that will be able to build the ecosystem to ready us for this digital future that we all speak about.
Great, good. So what I'm hearing from you is that you want to see the structure created that is robust and ready and can manage this kind of transition. So I want to come back on that. In many ways, our constitution, the way we govern, was built 60, 70 years ago in a very different age of commerce, in kind of a post-colonial era, right? Perhaps technology was important, but not as important and not as disruptive as it is today. How do you build a structure that accommodates this radical change? Does Malaysia need to evolve, or is it more revolutionary in the type of change and structures that you see? And I'm asking you a very tough question here, but I'm sure my audience is excited to hear your personal views on this.
You're right. I mean, it's a question of shift. So this is how we used to operate before. This is how things operate today. The question is whether we choose to operate in this new fashion, in this new digital world. I'll just put it bluntly. Society has changed. Look at things 20 years ago. People, would have asked, was there a need for everyone to have a smart device, a smartphone, right? Today, everyone uses a smartphone. In 2018, when I became minister, that was my focus. At that point in time, we could see where this was going. I told the Prime Minister, look, we need to make sure that every single Malaysian has access to a smart device. But in order for that to happen, you needed connectivity. So we started off with the double the speed, half the price, NFCP, which is a project. We introduced it in 2019, $21.6 billion put aside to make sure that we connect the entire country, making sure that every single Malaysian, doesn't matter where he is, in the city, out of the city, in the outskirts, every single state, right? Everyone had access to connectivity, right? The reason for that is because we understood that the entire global world would become so important. Information would become key. It would change everything. Of course, you could not bring everyone to the international world, but I could bring everyone, I could bring the international world and that whole treasure of knowledge to people if I could empower them by putting connectivity in their hands. Now, that was a shift in the way we thought, right? Today, it's different. Connectivity, yes, it's there, it's part of the structure, but we need to start looking at technology because technology today really determines how it is we are going to operate as we go along. So, yes, there's going to be a shift in the way we think, we do things. It's going to take some time. And I'll tell you what really troubles me, Ramesh. What troubles me is this concept of a digital divide. Back in 2018, when we spoke about digital divide, kita lihat, we looked at it, we looked at it from, minta maaf, I'll speak in English with many in the audience here. It would help many in the audience here. We were concerned about the fact that some people did not have access to connectivity, and because of that, they would be left behind. You create this gap. Today, I look at it from a different perspective. I worry that we will have, or we'll come to a point where we have certain parts of society, people in society, that don't use technology and therefore do not operate as fast as others, resulting in which they get left behind. So you actually live in a particular area with different sorts of people. In this room, for example, we have many different people, but some people here don't use technology, and they are left behind. So that's a divide that we must be prepared for. I mean, you can speak about ChatGPT here, but I'm sure some of them haven't actually used ChatGPT, right? I mean, but it's okay, I mean, what we need to do is accept the fact that things have changed. The question is, are we going to change? And for me, I think it is important for government to tell people that they need to understand that change. And of course, as far as they possibly can, also come along that journey so that they are not left behind. So these are the concerns that I have had. And I think moving ahead, I'm quite sure, there will come a point in time where we will shift in the way we do things, even education at schools, talking to people about how it is they need to use devices, they need to adopt technology. The younger generation are not the problem. We are the problem. the younger generation, they're used to it. You know, sometimes they come and tell me, look, well, I'm not going to say certain things, but they look at what kind of things I'm using, and they're like, this is outdated, sir. You should do something else. But moving along, I think this is change. As governments, we must be alert. We must recognize the fact that at the end of the day, opportunity must be given to everyone. Facilities must be provided. Structures must be built. I think that's our responsibility. We are moving ahead in that direction. The Prime Minister is very committed to ensuring that we get it done, and I hope that we'll succeed.
Great, thank you so much. We don't have so much of time, but I think what you've said really illustrates the challenge at hand. And I think, you as Minister, I feel very confident that the country is prepared. It's going to be a challenging journey ahead, but your leadership is going to be key. And thank you so much for your leadership on AI. Thank you.
Thank you, Pramesh. Thank you, YB. I'd like to invite both gentlemen for a photo together. Thank you, Pramesh. I'd like to invite you back to your seat. However, YB will be taking another photo. Okay, so I'd like to invite Catherine, Dixon, Alex up on stage for a photo with the Minister. Thank you, Pramesh. Careful. Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you to the Minister once again for gracing today's event. Thank you. Thank you once again to the Minister, who I believe will be making his departure. Thank you once again to the Minister, YB Gobind Singh Deo, Minister of Digital, for being here. Now we're here today to explore the future of our nation as it intersects with technology, society, and business, a future that's been reshaped every day by AI-powered innovation, transforming the way we live, work, and connect. But as we look ahead, it's essential to remember who that future belongs to: the next generation, our students and young professionals who will carry the torch of innovation forward. So to bring that future into focus, I'm excited to introduce two educators who work with it every day. They're from Malaysia Digital Economy Corporation, we know them as MDEC, and Souls Foundation, and are active contributors to the IBM Skills Build program. They will be sharing their experiences with IBM Skills Build for workforce preparation, that's AI, and IBM Z and IBM Skills Build for TVET lectures, AI and Gen AI. Please join me firstly in welcoming technologist Nick Naharuddin bin Muhammad Nasir. Technologist Nick, dipersilakan. I think this way is safer.
Assalamualaikum, a very good afternoon. So, okay, I'm going to talk about our experience in working with IBM in equipping the nation's talent, the pipeline of our nation's talent, specifically in working with the IBM Skills Build and also IBM Z across the university, schools, and also TVET institutions. All right. So, we've been doing this talent development for the digital tech industry for quite some time, and we find it's very critical ability to actually move their resources to work with us to equip the students, also the learners and the lecturers. So MDEC, we have a grouping of premier digital tech institutions. These are considered the top tech institutions in Malaysia. Right now, the network has expanded to 28 institutions. This consists of 11 public universities, 10 private universities, and 7 polytechnics. So when we started for the university side, last year, this year we're starting the first cohort with UITM, Business Management faculty. So as you know, because the tech impacts all industries, and thus all faculties in the universities, they have to be able to respond and accept and adopt the tech faculty at UITM, and the response has been very, very encouraging. Almost 2,000 students trained just for the first cohort. And we're looking to do more, not just with the UITM, but also with the rest of the PDTIs across the nation. And we're also excited about the Z because, as you know, in Malaysia, I think also other parts of the world, it's very difficult to get students to go for mainframe training and all that. But with the Z, I think IBM has made it very sexy. We managed to get 100 students to go for the basic course. And we have introduced these students to the potential employers. And I think with properly going for the additional training for the intermediate level, inshallah, the students will be able to be supplied to the potential employers. So this is very, very exciting for us. For the TVET and Polytechnic, we work with IBM to empower the lecturers at the Polytechnic Balik Pulau. They became IBM's first Skills Build champion in 2021. So they've been working with us for 5 years. And their lecturers have been training not just their students, but also lecturers from other institutions, government officers, as well as other students to adopt skills under the Skills Build. For the schools, we have worked with a grouping of boarding schools, MRSM and Asrama Penuh, 10,000 of them. We also train 120 officers from the Ministry of Education, high potential students, and other things, specifically to equip the students with the Skills Build. So this has been very exciting. The MOE has been very receptive. The boarding school have been very excited because they see it as a good value add for their students. So we are planning more with IBM in the pipeline, boot camps, hackathons, and all that. So look forward to more of this. Thank you. Thank you, IBM.
Thank you, Technologies Nick Narudin. I'm now pleased to welcome Daniela Strimberg to the stage. A round of applause for Daniela.
Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Now, since the morning, we've heard about, and you've heard in the workshops, you've heard about AI in business, AI in healthcare, AI in education, but I bring to you a different lens, AI in poverty. In Solve Foundation, we serve, educate, and empower the B40. This makes up to over 3 million households in Malaysia. This is a powerhouse that can power up jobs and overall the national economy. But this is possible only if a pathway is created for them to move towards middle class and beyond. Without this, we risk widening the gap, and this is a risk that no nation should take. Malaysia is now at a crossroads. As an upper middle income economy, our next leap requires more than just growth. It demands transformation, one that is rooted in high-value industries, innovation, and skilled employment. And here's where education, particularly TVET, comes in. Every year, more than 200,000 students go through the government TVET stream. 9 out of 10 come from B40 backgrounds. This is our golden window. Yet many of these youth face a critical gap: limited access to digital technology and literacy outside the classroom. If we don't bridge this gap while they're still in college, we miss this last essential opportunity to prepare them for the high-growth, high-value economy. In response, Sol's Foundation partnered with IBM SkillsBuild with the support of Ministry of Digital and My Digital Corporation to launch Rakyat Digital DVET program. Together, we brought AI and Gen AI training to over 1,100 TVET lecturers. These educators are not just instructors, they are the first enablers of change. And with their support, we reached more than 5,600 students. We taught the fundamentals of AI. They taught us more. TVET lecturers feel the weight of expectation for them to transform the classrooms. But many are so overwhelmed by the speed of change. They're not resisting, they're asking for help. They need partners who can break down complex tools like Gen AI into practical, teachable concepts. IBM SkillsBuild does this brilliantly. And at Sol's Foundation, we contextualized it for coaching, for teaching, for the real world. Some lecturers told us that finally they saw AI not just a tool that students would use to cheat, but a tool to ignite creativity and critical thinking. Recognition also matters. Certificates and badges from IBM hold real value. And this was, for some of the students, the first time when they got completely for free global recognition for their digital skills. But the journey for sure isn't without a challenge. Lecturers and students are stretched thin with time, and digital upskilling cannot be just an extracurricular activity. It has to be part of the core. With technology evolving every 3 seconds, we need to act on this now, because ultimately, it's not a single moment intervention that breaks the cycle of poverty. It's a collection of powerful resources. And that's where we all come in. In Sol's Foundation, we don't see this as a project, we see it as a commitment. Moving forward, we'll continue to strengthen the bridge between digital learning and economic mobility, especially for the B40, those who are in need. Ladies and gentlemen, in this room here, there is considerable power through our knowledge, our tools, and our influence. Let's ensure that no one is left behind in Malaysia's digital economy. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Daniela. Now we're entering a pivotal part of today's race. As we fuel up for the next leg, it's time to talk strategy. So in the fast-paced world of AI and innovation, it's not just about speed, it's about synergy and scalability. Our next speaker, 𝐓𝐞𝐲𝐧𝐨𝐭𝐞 CTO of IBM ASEAN, will take us through how we can break down silos and unlock the true potential of scalable software innovation. So get ready for a roadmap that will set you on the fastest track to success.
Every company that we work with is a data company. Whether or not they think that data is their main product or not, ultimately you can't do enterprise AI without that data.
It's hungry for data.
It's hungry for data, absolutely, absolutely. And a lot of clients, they're struggling, trying to wrangle and understand what does the data set look like, who created it, should I trust it, is it of high data quality? We need to make it easy for clients to bring data sources into AI. Having the ability to harness their data, that's the thing that makes them special.
To welcome 𝐓𝐞𝐲𝐧𝐨𝐭𝐞 CTO of IBM ASEAN.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. We could call her Kat. As you might have heard from Kat earlier, we have a very exciting event planned for everybody today. This afternoon, there's going to be 3 tracks. An automation track, an AI track, and of course a Z track or Z track. That is all about the future of mainframe, if you will. Now, I was a bit nervous planning this particular talk because I have to introduce 6 different new technologies that was announced about 2 weeks ago in IBM Think Boston that's going to be showcased here in those 2 tracks. So if we do the math, I'm supposed to have 20 minutes, 6 different sessions, that's about 3 minutes each. Can I do it? And that's going to be tough. I wish I was on YouTube right now, and there's that 1.5x button that you can speed up the playback speed. I don't have that. But one of the nice things that actually happened was YB Gobind actually came up and took the stage, and his speech was inspiring. And there were a couple of things that I walk away with. One is it's going to be really exciting to be in Malaysia in the next 24 months. Second thing that I walked away with is that my topic will be a lot easier to explain, breaking down silo and bringing in synergy. Now, he used the example why a formation of the Ministry of Digital Malaysia to take transportation data, to take hospitals, healthcare, finance, all kinds of police data together, innovate with that, create new things. And that's what we want to do. So I'm trying to actually bring everything that our leaders, our visionaries back in the US event, I want to bring all of that here. I want to bring 6 keynotes down to 1. So that's going to be a little bit crazy. Now, I was watching the content there, and this is, I think, a very important concept that's going to wrap up my talk quite nicely. Productivity isn't everything, but in the long run, it's almost everything. There's a quote by Paul Krugman. This was something that our Senior Vice President, Rob Thomas, was using to introduce his session. And I caught that, and I thought, oh, I should look that up. Basically, what he's saying is for any nation to lift standard of living and achieve consistent, sustained economic growth, it's heavily dependent on its ability to bring up the productivities of its people. To be able to do that, we need technology. That's why this is such an important topic. Now, historical data for the last 300 years has pretty much shown that after the onset of the Industrial Revolution, the productivity, as measured in GDP, has outpaced the growth of population. And that's all due to all the technology that we bring forward. The really interesting thing is, despite having an explosion of population, the standard of living kept going up. Think back 300 years what we have, think about what we have today. That is made possible by technology, and that's what we're here to talk about. I am an avid student of technology, and I'm going to try to get through the stories because it's a lot of fun. IBM has been inventing new innovation to help improve company productivities for years. This is the IBM electrographics pencil. It's patented technology, by the way, everybody. This was when IBM needed to invent a new kind of graphite, something that conducts electricity a little bit better. That's because a gentleman by the name of Reno Johnson, back in 1931, he's a high school science teacher. And this is about 5 years after the SAT test came in. I think you might be familiar with the SAT test, the Scholastic Assessment Test. That's the machine that was invented to actually do scoring through automation, through technology. Right? He invented that machine, and IBM needed to invent a pencil so that the machine can actually read the pencil mark. Now, that machine went into production, right? And it improved scoring speed in terms of ability to mark the exam by 10x, and improve accuracy up to 99%. And Johnson, incidentally, moved on to invent other things. In fact, he's known as the father of the magnetic storage disk. He's the guy that ran the team that invented all the storage that we run today. So that's transformation using technology. That's what IBM did before. Today, we're doing work in automation, and we're doing work in AI to lift productivity again. Now, if you think back to that machine, actually goes a bit into the AI space, right? That machine was using electricity to actually sense the marking on the multiple choice test. Eventually, it became optical. That's the Scantron cards that you guys probably all remember back in school days, right? And then optical becomes what? OCRs. OCR becomes what? Computer vision, multimodal models. That is an onset on technology. Things were limited by what we can do, but that limitation is going away. We have new hardware, new capabilities, AI chip like the Spire AI processors, secure execution on mainframe. We have everything that we need today to make that innovation a reality. So, what do we mean by a platform-driven approach to innovation? Well, we think the wastage quite often is in the fact that technology, initiative, and capabilities are locked up in individual silo in your organizations. By having a platform that can bring everything together is going to help a tremendous amount. From the AI side, we want to actually start taking a look at the data platform. Data platform is, for the most part, bringing the data together to help everybody build the new generation AI solution that make our organization more productive. From that perspective, we have an AI platform called watsonx. Now, in the interest of time, I'm going to run through this really quickly. watsonx is really created on a multi-layer basis that brings technology together to help you build your own AI application. watsonx data is there to manage your data for AI use cases. watsonx AI is there to help you manage all your models or your LLMs, help you build AI solution. It is not a model. It does contain some. We give you models. We also allow you to import your models to be able to innovate with them. And then watsonx governance is there to build the trust, to make sure that those AI doesn't go sideways, that we can actually leverage them in an effective manner. Along with it is an agentic framework. And I'm going to highlight a couple of things. watsonx data. The Honorable Minister actually mentioned the need to bring data together, but we struggle with that. watsonx data introduced an enterprise data lakehouse that helps you bring that data into one place and begin to innovate. But we still struggle because, especially in the age of large language models, here's the problem. On the left-hand side is the large language models. Contain virtually 100% of public domain data available. Okay? That is ChatGPT, that is DeepSeek, that is Claude, Gemini, 100% is there. Problem is, it contains less than 1% of enterprise data. That means the information that you have about your organization is not represented at all in those models. Now, there are ways to get around that, right? The RAG, the retrieval augmented generation pattern can help getting around that a little bit. But over time, you're going to realize you have to find a consistent way of managing that knowledge base to bring that data in. And if you want to do any fine-tuning, this is becoming even more critical. So from that perspective, data engineers still got a ton of work to do. They are working 90% of the work is there to do to create these data flow and to rewrite them, and more than 50% of the work is being done only to maintain stuff, not to build new data requirement. So that is a problem, and it's caused by many things. There are many, many tools running different kind of stuff. Skills challenge, technical debt that has to be paid, backlog that hasn't been built yet, and then you got performance and data quality issues. Right? From that perspective, this is where we've taken the next step, and in Think, we actually announced the next step, next capability in watsonx data that you're going to hear more about in one of the technical sessions. We've decided, hey, why not consolidate, break down those silos, create a single platform where data engineer can actually work and deliver those data assets. Why not have a single control plane for everything? This is where you're going to actually find out a little bit more about watsonx data integration and intelligence. Something that we're very excited about is we had a lakehouse, but we didn't have a way to bring the data together and govern it in one place. Not quite just yet back then. And today we have that, and you're going to be seeing that later on. Now, the data bit is looked after. Let's take a look at some new exciting things. If you have been hearing anything at all in the last, I would say, 6 months in terms of the next big thing in AI, is this concept of agentic AI. What's the difference? An agentic AI or an AI agent is there to help conduct and do work autonomously on the user's behalf. We state what we want. The AI go and plan, decide, execute, and reflect on those decisions and actions, acting across multiple systems. So That is fantastic. But how do you build that? And I was having a conversation next door earlier at lunch with some of the business leaders here. And some of the most impactful idea about how AI can transform the way we work to increase productivity doesn't come from programmers. Those ideas don't come from programmers, they don't come from technologists, they come from line of business. And one of the things that we want to be able to do is to create a collaborative platform, breaking down skill silo in this case, bringing line of business in to talk to AI engineers side by side, so that they can build, prototype faster, extract value faster. In fact, this is a Harvard Business Review study. 25% of the knowledge worker in this study can decrease the amount of time it takes to complete their tasks using agentic AI. 12% more tasking can be completed, and 40% better quality. So when we talk about productivity, many people think cost saving. It's not always about cost saving. Productivities can be measured many different ways. Imagine the productivities in innovation. How quick we can innovate is also a productivity question. So 40% better quality work. And I think the bottom one is Gartner. 2028, 1/3 of all interaction that involve generative AI will involve an agent in the back end. So next time you talk to an AI, it will have a generative AI agent in the back end completing work on your behalf. So from that perspective, we put together what's an orchestrate, which is a framework that allows no-code to pro-code creation of Gen AI. No-code means user interface, drag and drop click, that line of business can use. Pro-code means professional programmers, people who love to write code, can work together on the same platform. Line of business can build their own prototype. The senior developer can bring that prototype to production ready on the same platform using the same tool set, talking the same language. So really an important part. And the really key innovation in this part is this notion of orchestrator agents. Orchestrator agents work with other expert AI agents to bring them together, use different skills, use different decision point to actually navigate a complex requirement. So in this case, we have a couple examples of what that might look like. The future, well, not the future, actually today, you can build an orchestrator agent that can handle what a manager needs to do every day. I want to transfer someone from my department to another by a certain date. I can use a set of tools, maybe an expert SME agent, a subject matter expert agent, called Ask HR to go complete a bunch of tasks. And those tasks may require us to touch Workday, maybe, SAP SuccessFactors. Well, an orchestrator can help bring that together. And maybe you want to sell a price quote, and maybe you need to touch on Salesforce for CRM to complete that task. We have out-of-the-box integration that allow us to do that on your behalf, and we have the ability for you to build custom agent of your own. Next, what's an Xcode assistant? New and exciting things happening in the space of AI writing code. Now, our AI layer is all about making your organization work faster, smarter, better. So we want to make the coder work faster, better, and smarter. So we know that AI is going to drive a whole lot of new applications, up to 1 billion applications in the next 3 years. Right? A lot of that coding is still being done manually, but AI is going to help with that. 83% of businesses think that you need to modernize application. Writing, by the way, I have a secret to share with you. Writing new code using AI is very easy. If you have a blank screen coding and you want to write new code, any code assistant can do it. Maintaining enterprise code that's been written over the years, understanding the impact of that code to your business, refactoring that code to run better, upgrading it, that's what's hard. In fact, some of those things, and this is going to be, you're going to find it funny, especially Alex in front here, because some of the things that you'll find particularly hard is to be to be dealing with COBOL or RPG. These are languages that are important to your business, but very hard to find skills for. This is where you need help. It's not to write a new Python block. That's easy to do. Think about maintaining all your business, your mission-critical code. Imagine what you need to do. So we actually have our own set of large language models trained specifically to speak 116 different programming language. 117 now, when we added RPG to that mix. That was the new announcement, I think. Think of our code assistants to be the Indiana Jones of the world. What does that mean? Indiana Jones is, in the movie. He's the guy that speaks the lost language. He's the guy that look at that big lithograph and say, hey, this is what it says in there. He's the guy that's going to help your new developer decipher the lost languages that your enterprise depends on. So that's another piece that you're going to see a whole lot about in the session this afternoon. Let's move away from the AI platform. I supposedly still have a few minutes left. So let's move on to the automation platform. There's 3 sessions there as well. Now, the automation platform is about using AI automation to help you run your IT organization in a more effective and efficient and productive manner. It's also there to help you do what is basically humanly impossible. Now, first things I want to share with you, 𝐓𝐞𝐿. We just completed the acquisition of business with 𝐓𝐞𝐿. We're bringing them in, and they are, for those of you who might be using Terraform in your organization, Vault in your organization, 𝐓𝐞𝐿 is the organization behind that. Now, times are changing or have changed over the years. It used to be one big application, then it goes to client and server tiers, and then distributed application, SaaS-based application, and now maybe AI-driven SaaS-based multi-agent application on this far end. Understanding that application is important, but I'll say it, it's practically impossible to do that work human alone. Remember the 1 billion new application numbers that we brought up. Imagine if most organizations are running over 1,000 applications. Keeping them running manually is a fool's errand. You're not going to be successful. You need AI to help. 𝐓𝐞𝐿 is one of the first steps because we want to actually join forces. We want to take the application team and the business team together. Now, this is the new landscape you got to deal with. So tons and tons of complexity, speed, risk, cost is slowing us down. 𝐓𝐞𝐿, reason why we acquired them is because it helps us solve the critical problem of linking application lifecycle management to technology business management. Technology business management is about understanding the technology impact on the business. Application lifecycle is about building the application, but in between, there's actually a bunch of steps. There's infrastructure, lifecycle management, and security lifecycle management. The problem is, without having the right tooling, it's piecemeals. There is no synergy. Everyone's doing things their own way. And you cannot run 1,000 applications with 50 developers doing things their own ways. So to be able to bring the development team, the cloud services team, the platform teams, and the security team together, to work together, that's where the synergy and that's where the breaking down silo takes place. Next up, I want to talk a little bit about IBM Concert. Now, this is probably something that you haven't heard about quite just yet. Concert is an AI-powered tool to help IT organizations get ahead of that IT problems. Today, applications are being created, and we have way too many of them. It's running on all kinds of different hybrid environments. And then you have logs being generated by the gigabytes coming in from all kinds of systems. How do you make sense of all those logs? How do you bring the events together so you can start managing it in a consolidated way? So to help you make sense of that, that's why IBM came up with Concert. Concert was a problem was a solution that was created for an IBM internal problem. And then we showed it to a client. And then the client says, can I have it? And then we realized the potential that's behind it when it comes to running a complex IT organization. It helps you understand application holistically, right? From that sense, it helps you piece together all the endpoints, all the devices, all the servers that is running your individual application, all the individual services that needed to compose the application being brought together in a single pane of glass. That is the first step of helping you prevent problems from taking down your system. That is how you optimize. That is how you save money. And to go on top of that, we've added the AI layer. Using the Granite models that I talked about that can write code, you can actually interact with Concert. Concert will tell you that there might be a potential problem here by analyzing the log. But we didn't just stop there. We said, well, by the way, you can fix that by generating this set of step and script, and we're going to have an AI agent that will schedule and execute these for you. That's what Concert is about. If you're interested in seeing it, again, we have a Concert session. Now, the last things I'm going to do is talk about something that's, again, newly released, the IBM Web Method Hybrid Integration. Now, this all came from our chairman and CEO's speech, or part of it for sure. He said the key things, while may not be the sexiest, the key things that technology and AI can do for us is to begin to integrate business process. Hyper-integration of different capabilities in our organization, bringing those things together. Use AI agent to do that. That's how you actually get the maximum amount of productivity gain. And this particular capabilities is all about doing that integration. Taking away that complexity, the 80% of leaders saying, our stuff just too complex. I don't even know what to use. I've got so many capabilities. So the idea of being able to bring those APIs together side by side with events, with files transfer of application requirements, and orchestrating an end-to-end integration flow. And then to help using AI to suggest integration that can help build solution is what this capability is all about. The AI power integration is incredibly powerful. There are so many things in there that you guys should go and find out about. And again, we have a session on that too. So integration agents, right, is an AI that helps you understand based on your task, these are the APIs that you need to bring together. API agents, different things to help you manage everything from documentation, performance, using AI to do that. AI gateway is another really interesting capabilities. In a hybrid world, your AI lives anywhere. It lives where your data lives. It could be in a public cloud. It could be in your private domain. You need a gateway that can interact and make that interaction seamlessly. These are some of the AI capabilities that we're going to bring in with Web Method Hybrid Integration. That is all the stuff that I'm going to talk about, but there's so much more to find out. That's the two layers, the data and the automation layer. And I think next up, we're going to hear a whole lot about our transaction processing platform, but I will leave that to the next speaker.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Kidman. A round of applause. And of course, Kidman mentioned earlier on about the several tracks that we've got on. That's all going to begin at 3:30, so don't worry, you won't miss anything. But also just check on timing, but the whole session will begin at 3:30. Now, in this fast-paced world of technology where AI, cloud, and quantum innovations often steal the spotlight, there's a high-performance machine that's been consistently leading the pack behind the scenes, powering over 70% of the world's transactional workloads. The IBM Z platform is the undisputed champion of enterprise computing, driving the global economy with unmatched reliability and speed. Today, we're pulling into the winner's circle with an exciting announcement. Buckle up as we welcome two key drivers of innovation, 𝐊𝐞𝐲𝐧𝐨𝐭𝐞, General Manager of IBM Z, Product Manager for the IBM Z17. They're here to unveil the next generation of race-ready enterprise engines, the IBM Z17 and IBM LinuxONE 5. But before that, let's watch this video.
There's nothing else like the Z17 in the market. Nope.
This system was built to be resilient, scalable.
With so much AI capability accelerated in the hardware and built into the software, the world is going to start to see things done differently.
These AI accelerators have enabled the Z17 to be an AI inference machine, a powerhouse machine.
We have had thousands of developers to bring this system to life.
We've tied AI at the core. We've tied AI into the processors where these transactions are happening.
AI on Z means trusted, scalable AI.
Attention to detail.
Ease of use.
AI on Z is innovation.
Powerful.
AI on Z means possibility.
Limitless capabilities.
AI on Z to me means freeing up our clients' imagination to do things with their business processes and their businesses that they've only dreamt about before.
It's about reshaping the perceptions that exist around these systems.
We're shaping the future of trusted AI for mission-critical workloads.
Our clients set a high bar for what we need to deliver, and this system is built with and for our clients.
Z17 to me is game-changing. We are delivering technology that truly matters to the world.
Sales.
Good afternoon. I'm so happy it's just stuck the landing to come up here. So, and thank you to the 42 of you who texted me to make sure I was okay. I appreciate it. I've had the pleasure of doing this for about 5 decades now. This is my 5th decade in the industry. I've never fallen on stage until today, so there's always something new in your life, so thank you. I am excited to be here in Kuala Lumpur and to really share with you everything we're doing in terms of IBM Z and what it means to you as a client of ours here in Malaysia. First of all, I want to thank you on behalf of the IBM Corporation for all the business you do with the IBM Corporation and have done through the years, as Kat said, since 1961, plus what you're about to do, because the fun is just beginning. This is a proud day for us. It's an opportunity for us in terms of introducing to you something that many of you know and some of you haven't dealt with. But think about for a second, did you use a credit card today? Did you use a debit card today? Did you take a airline reservation? All of these processes worked. And in fact, many of you may not realize this, they were all backed by an IBM mainframe. In fact, the global process and the global economy really survives around the IBM mainframe, and in some cases it's taken for granted. And it's taken for granted for a simple reason. This simply works. Our opportunity here is not to take things for granted, but really build upon the test of time. The IBM Z16 broke all records for the mainframe. It was better than the Z15 that broke all records for the mainframe, which broke all the records that the Z14 had set. So we continue to innovate and we continue to create. In fact, over the last 10 years, the mainframe has grown 10% around the world per annum. On a yearly basis, this represents roughly 70% of the world's value transactions. But let me put it into context for you. What is 70% of the world's value transactions? It is roughly 1 trillion, let me get this straight. It is roughly a quadrillion US dollars. That's the amount of commerce that is moving through the IBM mainframes around the world. We did look up what that is versus the GDP of Malaysia. If you like, I'd share that number with you just as a reference point. It is 2,500 times the GDP of Malaysia. That's a lot of transactions. That's a lot of commerce. But it also supports what my good friend the minister talked about, the ability to integrate. Many of you are interfacing today. This is a world of integration. And our job here is really to help you unlock the value of data, the data that you have at the private, public, and partner or ecosystem level. When we built the IBM Z17, we built it based on your feedback, client councils around the world, 100 plus actively engaged clients who basically told us that 8 out of 10 corporations, both public, private, would use the mainframe and AI as a critical innovation point to deliver on the promise of artificial intelligence. The open conversations that we've had through design councils with all of you represent an essential input for our designs. So if you're joining us and you're new to the mainframe, welcome. We've missed you. And we welcome the opportunity to show you that capability. If you've been with us for a while, we're going to continue to build on that success story. Because as you heard, this is about evolving and building upon and protecting your investments. We pride ourselves on collaboration with all of you. Malaysia is built on collaboration and innovation. And so when we think about what we're driving here, we need to address critical needs that you have. Let's begin with a simple experiment. Close your eyes. Everyone close your eyes. Open them. You've just experienced the downtime that we design on a mainframe. It's 315 milliseconds a year. Think about that the next time you blink. Imagine running the system that the minister just described. You cannot afford to have an integrated system of such criticality that cannot handle or be up as much as, or let's say the other way, down as much as a single blink in a year. In a year. You wanted more in hybrid cloud? We've got the support all the way through, from Kubernetes and containers on through to Linux capabilities as we introduce now the LinuxONE Emperor 5. And you wanted the ability to determine fraud? We've got that in scale. You will think of the you'll think of Z17 as AI at scale. What am I talking about? 450 billion inferences a day on the system. Several of you are just playing with AI. The AI that was just described here on stage is not an experiment. It is prime time. And all of these innovations that we're talking about just didn't show up overnight. For those of you on Z16, we introduced AI on Z16 on the chip. But we didn't do it the day before we announced it in 2022 because somebody said ChatGPT. You can't build it that quickly. Our IBM research team brought that together in 2016 because our task here at IBM is not only to deliver value to you for today, but handle your latent demand of tomorrow. So this is a truly worldwide IBM launch, and I'm honored to represent it here today in Malaysia. Some of the key inventions and innovations were developed in partnerships with our IBM research colleagues around the world. We looked across, as you just heard, our software portfolio. We looked at capabilities to create powerful combinations of data, AI, and automation. Great example, Watson X Assistant and Concert, making the system simpler and easier to use, which reflects the need of the talent and coming out of the universities. Number two is it also reflects some of our acquisitions, building upon our Red Hat OpenShift platforms, as well as the recently announced HashiCorp capabilities, and of course, all the support and technical skills necessary from consulting to storage support and technical support. And of course, our partners, several of you are here in a room who continue to contribute from an ecosystem perspective. Now, what I'd like to do is really get into the fun stuff of this. No, it's not me taking another dive on the, I've done enough of that today. But I do want to thank the one of you, by the way, who texted my wife already and back in New York, who just texted me 4 times asking me, am I okay? It is my pleasure to have the product leader join us here. Please join me in welcoming Nate Dotson. Hey, Nate.
Great. Thank you for that. Welcome, Alex. And it's my pleasure to be here in Malaysia with all of you. And these launches around these fantastic systems, Z17 and LinuxONE 5, they're always a really exciting time for our team as well as the global mainframe community. Something really special, and we're going to talk a lot more about it today.
Absolutely. Let's talk about this from a journey point of view first, because I'm always amazed how we bring mainframes to market. And I look across this room, I've been around the mainframe, probably fair to say, longer than 95% of this audience has been alive, okay? And that's not that far off there. Give me plus or minus 3% on the 95%, I'm probably there. But you think about how we build mainframes, and it's all about client value, delivering that value to you that starts at the most fully integrated stack in the world. You get down to the silicon level, the microprocessor level, and you build up and you go beyond the horizon. And you start looking at not just the latest trend, but where do you have to be for today and where do you have to be for tomorrow? Imagine just waking up today and saying you need 450 billion inferences a day capability, right? Then we have this thing called quantum safe security and being able to handle and protect. I've heard the word trust throughout all the sessions here. You know, this is about really something that's now being coined in the industry as Q2K, you know, quantum in the future here, and how do you handle all of this? And really talking about the Telum chip, right? The brains behind it, the core, and how we've put this AI inferencing acceleration in place, let alone some minor league type things of ChatGPT weren't even born when we were developing on this front. So, Nate, let's talk about this further, because you sit back here, how do you approach this client engagement and take it to beyond the Z16, which was amazing, to now these new type of systems here?
Well, we've been talking a little bit about this already, and at the core of what it is that we do with these systems is client value. So that user research we're continually doing with customers, councils, sponsor users. This is part of our DNA in the system, and it's how we deliver value that matters, not just technology for technology's sake. And we talk to personas across the spectrum, from the CFO and CISO all the way to the system administrators, the database administrators, the developers on the system, to ensure that we are making their jobs and what they deliver to the world and all of us as consumers that much better. And with this particular system, well over 100 clients we engaged with, as you'd already mentioned, and that equates to something more than 2,000 of hours that we have engaged with customers, more than doubling what we did for Z16. And our next program, I'm sure we're going to continue that trend to ensure we're bringing technology that's looking over the horizon and ready for what comes next. And this is like an ongoing feedback loop. And one of the secrets that a lot of people don't know in the room here, we're building the next mainframe. Yes, we're talking about the Z17 today. We already have the 2 next generations in the works. And that brings us to today.
So, which is extremely exciting, because a lot of people sit back here, and wherever I am all over the world, there's this myth that IBM isn't committed to the mainframe. I find that unbelievable, considering $250 billion moving through the system, 70% of the value transactions, let alone the billions of dollars of innovation. I think, you know, it would be fair to have that position if IBM weren't investing in the platform And as he said, we're not talking about 17, we've got 18 and 19 or N and N+1 already on the hopper here. So how do you raise the game, right? How do you go beyond 16 success? You know, you've got these design principles. I think everybody recognizes the basics of the mainframe. On top of the transaction integrity is the security, the performance, scalability, availability, et cetera. And, you know, running the world of AI with quantum right around the corner and hybrid cloud, the de facto standard that we introduced. I think it was Z14 that brought that out on top of the 70%. And of course, the latest in chips. So you start clicking on all of that, and we previewed all of it. It raises a question: how do you get us to this game-changing, you know, opportunity? So I think maybe we got to step back a little bit. Maybe I'll show a video of how this really takes off.
Let's see it. Let's see some of the technology. Here's Z17.
Your business is sitting on a gold mine. Your most valuable data, on-prem, untapped, until now. Say hi to IBM Z17. Built with 40% more on-chip capacity to deliver multi-model AI to mission-critical workloads at the core of your business. A foundation that's more accurate and productive than ever before. Scaling software capabilities to empower your workforce and drive innovation. All now protected by AI-enhanced security. Do more at the core with AI on Z17.
Core, the Honorable Minister, he had mentioned that the essence of technology is data, right? And that's what runs through these systems. You mentioned all of those transactions. You know, the systems that we deliver, they not only must be performant to handle all these things, they got to be predictive. They have to be secure. They must be resilient by design. And all of that is for unlocking additional potential efficiency and productivity out of these systems. So I agree. It's time to do more at the core, Alex.
Well, you know, and doing more at the core is going to change a little bit here. Yes, you get it down to the firmware level. We've been on this since pervasive encryption and so forth. You know, even compression and sort are at the core these days. Now AI at scale here, right? But it's about scoring more, right? It's about more use cases in AI. It's about keeping the security and scale that you need because the transaction world is growing. And at the same time, all within performance and SLAs that everybody expects from the mainframe platform in a hybrid cloud environment. So it's fair to say that the Z17 is going to do more than ever before. And in fact, when you start thinking about the number of transactions, you know, we've increased the number of transactions to 35 billion secure transactions a day. That's 10 billion more than the Z16, right? It's 40% more than the Z16 from a percentage point of view. Why? Go back to the minister's discussion. All this integration, not interfacing, is about transaction at speeds of a millisecond or less. And in doing so, you're addressing new types of opportunities, new use cases. I'm sure your imagination was going wild here in terms of what was possible in the scenario the minister just described. So the list can go on and on here, and in the respect of time, I want to really bring this together from a point of view that says, how do you apply this here, right? We want to help clients unlock the productivity in your organization. A few weeks ago at Think Boston, as was referenced, I had the opportunity to sit with our supply side investment analysts. They're an interesting Wall Street group of people. it was all about productivity. It was the application of AI, which, by the way, IBM has taken out $3.5 billion in terms of cost and expenses and translated that to the bottom line to reinvest in research to bring out things like the Z17, 18, and 19. So we want to help you unlock this, and more importantly, translating that to making your clients, your citizens, your constituents have a better service experience. We designed this fully integrated from the silicon on through to the advanced software that's required here. These are the principles that haven't changed for decades in terms of design approaches, but more importantly, allowed us to deliver time and again. So Nate, let's talk finally here about what does it mean more at the core and bring it on home.
So there's going to be a whole lot more you can grab me and Alex about afterwards, but really it fundamentally comes down to all of the layers, the full stack as you described. And when we talk about the core, at the core and the heart of this is the 𝐶LM2 microprocessor, the latest generation in a series of mainframe processors that is the most advanced. And this is built on a custom 5-nanometer Samsung process. We've boosted the frequency to 5.5 gigahertz. And of course, that allows us more performance, more single-thread performance, a massive amount of more capacity, 20% more, 60% more system memory than we had before, which allows those Linux applications, large databases, to run those at scale as the requirements are coming in. And on top of that, we've scaled the cache on chip by 40%, and that translates to blazing performance for billions of transactions running through these systems. Now, what's really amazing, and about the size of a US quarter, roughly 2.5 centimeters by 2.5 centimeters, is 43 billion transistors on the 𝐶LM2 chip and 24 miles of wire. Just a pure testament to engineering and technology and what these systems and technology can deliver. On top of that, we're looking at the system level. How is it that we address the challenges that the world is seeing today? And AI is bringing a whole lot of those challenges, one of those being energy consumption. We're going the opposite direction with our systems. We have about a 20% reduction in total system power over Z16, which is amazing and allows our customers to do more with less. And all of that is in a couple of tiles of floor space in a data center. Truly amazing. And then you look at the security and what it is we do to continue to protect in that space. It is paramount. You mentioned those foundational aspects of security, resiliency, high availability. We built on that foundation, and we're adding AI to be that next level of foundational strength for the platform. Now, as we also think about quantum safe and what is coming, how is it that we can engage and build AI much more across the stack in terms of security, making it so our customers can adopt, to go on those journeys quicker? How can we enable them to take their data, as the minister described, and to be able to understand all of the sensitive data across government agencies, private sector, et cetera, and use that to more advantage to integrate into an increasingly hybrid world? All of that requires technology. And the capabilities that we have across the 𝐶LM2 processor and the forthcoming Spire chip, which is our ability to bring generative AI onto the systems. Our systems are no stranger to predictive and traditional machine learning, deep learning, leveraging that structured data to provide, these wonderful outputs and opportunity. How do you then? Inspire is something that we co-created with IBM Research. It has 32 AI cores, all on a PCIe standard card that's going to go into these systems. And it scales massively, the ability to have 48 of these cards. So you can see the amount of scale, the amount of AI. So we're moving well beyond just traditional, and this gives us the ability to get into production, new use cases across every industry, fraud detection, healthcare, geospatial analysis, the ability to open the aperture so that in the end, the world's economy, the critical workloads running on the system are that much better. So we're ready for those applications. We're ready for opportunity. We're ready for possibility. Now, that design thinking approach, I think what's really important about AI is to take yourselves outside of the box and like, oh, you're talking about the mainframe. You're talking about fraud detection, financial use cases. We have well over 250 use cases of working with customers around the world in areas you would not even think of, much like I mentioned, geospatial, satellite analysis, things which you don't normally associate with the mainframe. And that's just to name a few. That number is growing all the time. And I thank you for your engagement, those of you who have been on this journey for us, ensuring we're delivering that value. And as Alex said, if you're not, we're here with welcome arms. Talk to us. We're here to help you be successful. We're here to help you find your use cases that drive value for your end users. So, Alex, how about you take us home?
I think it is time to go home, and because I'm a herding puppy. I want to thank you on behalf of the IBM Corporation for all you heard today and what we're about to do in the breakout sessions. It's an opportunity here to challenge your thinking and bring forward the Digital Malaysia vision, as well as grow your companies. With that, the hybrid cloud and AI will be core to that, and the mainframe will continue, both as the IBM Z17 and future generations to come, as well as the IBM LinuxONE capability, handling everything from sustainability and security on through to the scale of a blink of an eye. With that, enjoy the rest of the sessions. Thank you.
Thank you. A big thank you to Alex and Nathan. The road ahead is filled with opportunity, speed, and transformation. And to wrap our journey today, please join me in welcoming Dixon Wu, General Manager of IBM Malaysia, who will share his final thoughts on how we can keep our engines running and continue to accelerate towards the future of AI. Dixon.
Thank you, Freda. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, we have come to a closure of today's summit keynote. Allow me to just say a big thank you to all of you on behalf of IBM Malaysia. I'm truly honored by the energy and your enthusiasm and your engagement. I think that truly brings a lot of meaning and a lot of energy to the room, and I really appreciate it. And it has been an inspiring day today. Yeah. And this morning, I think we opened with the messaging of, how do we unlock AI, and is AI real and all that. I think through the messaging from the various speakers and also YB, I think the AI is real. It has been in practice already. Over at the Sea Luncheon just now, I think there were several use cases being expressed and being shared. And AI really applied across multiple industries. It's impacting the telco, impacting the banking industries, impacting the hospitals, the airport as well. So that the conversation was so inspiring. Yeah. And AI today is no longer a buzzword. It's become real. Later on, please pay a visit to some of the demo center out there in the demo zone. We'll be demonstrating some of the AI in a real-time manner, in the real world practice. Hopefully you can bring this back and apply to your business and organization. And of course today, very importantly, also mark a very historical moment. That is the announcement of our latest and greatest, the Z17 launch today. And of course, it's a proud moment for all of us in Malaysia, as Catherine just mentioned that, the Z deployment in Malaysia has been already over 6 decades, 60 years ago. I remember I was running the mainframe business 3 decades ago when I was still quite young in IBM. But today, the machine has evolved Z17 and it's so robust. And of course, it's built with AI at its core. And it's quantum safe and all that. And it's really state of the art. Yeah. And of course, the real highlights of today is really all of you who make this forum and symposium so wonderful. And your conversation shared spark and the connection that made is really brings a lot of meaning. It's not the end of the world, but it's just marked the beginning and lay the foundation for future. Before we pathways, I invite you to continue the journey. Head over to the demo zone where you can experience AI and automation in a real time. And then don't miss out 3 dedicated track session. There is the driving business value with AI, boosting productivity through automation, harnessing the power of IBM Z. So each track is designed to give you a real practical strategies and real world example that you can actually bring back to your organization. Once again, thank you so much. Thank you for joining us at the IBM Tech Innovation Summit Malaysia. Let's keep leading, let's keep building, and together let's unlock what's next. With that, thank you so much.
Thank you, Dixon. And thank you for all of you for joining us on this thrilling ride through the world of AI and innovation. So a couple of announcements before we go. Anyway, I remembered Dixon decades ago as well. So remember, just like in racing, the journey doesn't end here. Every session today is another lap toward unlocking your full potential. We hope you're feeling fueled up and ready to celebrate your journey through the rest of the event. Before we shift gears to the next phase, I want to remind you that this event is not just about soaking in all this content, which is great. It's about engaging and collecting points. Use your ticket to earning valuable points that you can redeem for exclusive merchandise. We love our exclusive merchandise. So each time you participate in an activity, you collect a sticker for your race card and think of each sticker as a lap completed, moving you closer to victory. So a couple of things again. Race briefing, you've already kicked things off strong by attending this keynote session. So this is your first lap. Pit stop, those who attended the lab sessions this morning have a bit of a head start. They've already earned also valuable stickers and have started to tune up their skills for the race ahead. Team garages, so engage in one of the 3 team garages in the pit lane. This is where teamwork and collaboration will fuel your next move, plus more stickers await. The winner's circle, we have a special stop out there in the winner's circle, so participate in IBM's dedicated CSR activity and grab that final sticker to cap off your race today. And of course, the track sessions, you can speed through one of our exciting breakout sessions, so engage, learn, and grab the next sticker. I won't go through the tracks but that will start at 3:40 now, and you can scan the QR code to get the latest timing, yeah? But the next session, 3:40, so you can grab your coffee and, head there. So as you gather your stickers across the event, you'll earn points that we can redeem for tiered merchandise. The higher, the better. So make sure you collect them, take home some exclusive rewards that match your racing performance today. Again, with your race cards in hand and the road ahead full of opportunities, it's time to shift gears and head into the next phase of event, explore, engage, and keep the momentum going. So yes, go out there, get your coffee, and we'll see you at the breakout tracks. Thank you very much. Wow,
speed. At IBM, we are powering progress to solve the biggest challenges that societies in APAC and around the world grapple with.
I code software that helps citizens access welfare payments.
I train computers in natural language capabilities so employees can work more efficiently.
I help clients find solutions to grow their business sustainably.
I'm helping clients drive productivity and innovation at scale, responsibly using autonomous AI agents.
I conduct experiments to push the limits of quantum computing.
I help clients accelerate business outcomes with hybrid by design.
Asia Pacific, the epicenter of global growth and progress.
Let IBM power your transformation.
I am IBM.
I am IBM.
I'm IBM.
I am IBM.
I am IBM.
I am IBM.
I'm IBM.
I am IBM.